how do you create a company and make it an industry leader? Well, we are very fortunate to be able to sit down and spend a few minutes with Susan DeVore, the president and CEO of Premier Inc. Susan, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Amy. Glad to be here.
Let's brag about you a little bit. I know you won't, but I will. Susan's been called an industry-leading thinker and has been named to Modern Healthcare's 100 Most Influential People. She's been called a top 25 women in healthcare. She is called the industry-leading code of ethics person and has been named 8 times as one of the world's most ethical companies, which I think is amazing, and a Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. Business Leader Magazine's Leaders of the Year Award. She's received North Carolina's Most Influential and Dynamic Leaders Award. She's been recognized by U.S. Airways Magazine for significant contributions in Charlotte. And the list goes on and on, Susan. So let's talk about your leadership style and your technique. And when we were chatting beforehand, it all sounds so easy, but it really isn't. It's been very intentional work on your part. Help us see how you've been able to lead this organization to success.
You know, I've been in business for a long time. I've always believed that my life was one life, my career was one career, and I had to figure out how to do it all together. And from a leadership perspective, it meant making my own rules for my life, and it also meant how do you empower all the people around you for their greatness? And so I have a philosophy that basically says, you know, I need to fly up here at 50,000 feet, but I need to know enough about the business to be able to drop down to 10 feet and really help people optimize their performance. That's what it's all about.
And how do you do that? 1 or 2 concrete tips that can at least help us transfer that style from the healthcare industry to all the other industries that folks are watching?
So first of all, I think you have to have a reason for doing what you do. So if you don't have a higher purpose, if you don't have a passion about, for us, it's transforming healthcare. And I think every employee at Premier would say, we think we're going to make a difference in fixing the healthcare system in this country for our future generations. So that's a big, you know, audacious sort of passion. And I think you have to have that. And then if you have that, you've got to build enough infrastructure and training and learning, different programs so that people can really be at their best within that mission. And that's what we try to do.
You've talked about being a lifelong learner.
Yes.
How does that transfer to your staff?
So I think if you're a lifelong learner and if you create a culture and an environment that is all about learning new things, transferring roles, moving into different divisions, getting promotions, building new technology products, and you create an innovation culture where it's all about how do we solve problems, how do we invent new things, that's just fun. You know, that's fun. And I think if you can create that kind of environment, it translates itself into lifelong learning.
You shared that you like to create a team of folks who are fearless athletes. What does that mean, and how do you get there?
You know, that's a relatively new program that we're rolling out first with the executives and the vice presidents. And it's all around, if you study the truly great athletes, you will find that they are able to get into a zone where they perform at their absolute best. And that zone is described sometimes as feeling fearless, feeling like you can do anything, feeling like you can achieve anything. And so we're starting to talk about that with our executives. We want to cascade that philosophy all the way down through the rest of the organization and really have people feel totally fearless and empowered to innovate and to create and to learn.
So there's no limiting self-beliefs?
No limiting self-beliefs. No limiting self-beliefs and a removal of barriers that aren't self-beliefs but might be barriers to their ability to solve problems and to innovate. And that's something management and the executives need to do.
Talk to us a little bit about being a woman leader. I mean, there's a few more dynamics involved there as being a wife and a mother, and you're even a grandmother these days. Congratulations.
Right.
How do you navigate all those things?
You know, again, I think it's back to you have to sort of make your own rules because you get this one life, you need to make the most of it, and that means I had over my career had to make my own rules about time away from home, about how I was going to make the time I was with family, high quality time. And so I think it's about making your own rules, and it's also, in my mind, about being able to break out of whatever box you're in. And I don't think this uniquely applies to women. I think it applies to men too. But in my career, I would be in a role and then people would say, well, she's that. And then if I wanted to move to another role, they'd say, well, she's not really that, she's this thing in the box. And every time I decided I was just going to break out of the box, I became the new box. And then once you're in the new box a while, you know, so I grew up at Ernst & Young and I was a consultant. When I came to Premier, they said, oh, she's a consultant. Doesn't know how to, you know, sort of run a business. And then I ran supply chain, and then I moved into the COO role. And every time it was sort of like, well, maybe she's a supply chain person, or maybe she's a COO, and then a CEO, and then a CEO of a public company. But if you're a lifelong learner, and if you have the courage, and I think this applies to women directly, to jump off the cliff and break out of the box, you have a lot more fun, and you learn a lot more, and you grow a lot more.
And you're a problem solver. I mean, clearly in everything.
I love to problem solve. I love to see things others don't see, and I love to help build that skill. So, you know, I grew up thinking you had to wow the customer, not just serve the customer, and that you had to tell them things they didn't know and see things they didn't see. And I think that if everybody in our company can do that, I mean, it's unlimited in terms of what we can accomplish.
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I want to give you another chance. You're even innovating now, and in a day of technology where we are all tied to our cell phones and responding immediately to emails, what are you trying to do? What's kind of the new thing you're trying to do at Premier?
We have a couple of new things, but one of the things that we're going to attempt from a grassroots effort is to try to have no email Friday afternoons. I think we've gotten so far away from talking to people, talking on the phone with people, meeting face-to-face with people, and we're all sort of stuck in feeling the obligation to answer the 322 emails. And so we're trying this. We're trying to take Friday afternoons and have the executives and the vice presidents get off email. And we're hoping it'll lead to more innovation, more relationship building, more productivity, more thinking time. You know, you get so stuck in doing, you need thinking time.
Susan DeVore, President and CEO of Premier Incorporated, thank you so much for sharing some of your strategies for success with us. We so appreciate it.
Thank you.